Hey guys, you're on the JRB Tree Climbing Channel. Yes, that's snow. Maybe you don't get snow in your part of the world. Well, we all get rain. And we all could wind up in an adverse situation that we need to get ourselves out of. If you've seen my video, and please watch it, 10 rules for saddle hunting climb safety. Rule 10 was to anticipate Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. You know, I espouse the use of redundancy in terms of our point of attachment, our moving point of attachment to our climbing rope or our rappel line. You know that I espouse the use of the head and knot that you're seeing now for use in a backup with a mechanical device. But maybe you didn't take that advice. Maybe you might find yourself in a situation where the weather worsened, and that device that you're attached to your rope with, it could be a mechanical device, could be a friction hitch, started slipping. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that is a very uncomfortable situation. And what we do in that situation, our brain immediately tries to hold on. That's what we do. And what do we need to hold on? We need a hand or two. And once we're holding on, well, it's really hard to recover because I'm using my hand to hang on. So if you haven't taken that advice and built redundancy into your system, you might want to be able to at least consider doing so on the fly. Besides the slippage of a rappel device, whether mechanical or a friction hitch, there are other situations where we might need to do something with one hand. Let's say that you were climbing up a tree and you were advancing your tether as you go, something I don't recommend, and you got your hand caught between the tree and the rope, and that hand was caught and you needed to somehow recover. You might need to tie a friction hitch with one hand. You might be in a rescue situation where your friend is caught in a tree and you were trying to give them relief. You might find yourself in all sorts of situations where you need one hand and you need to be able to tie a safe and reliable friction hitch. The head and knot is extremely reliable. It holds well. And see my prior videos on it. I recommend it with at least 3 wraps. I often use 4 for a backup. But I'm going to show you how you can tie a head knot with just one hand. And consider the precedent set by the one-handed bowline. We all know what the bowline is. Well, a long time ago in rescue situations, we figured out we're going to need a way to tie this knot with one hand, where a rope is thrown to a person who's in the water, and they wrap that rope around their body, and they can form a bowline while holding on to the rope with one hand. They can form a bowline with the other hand. Well, here's that same situation, and let me show you how to do it. Here I have an 18 or 19-inch Prusik loop. It's 6 millimeter, and I'm working with 9 millimeter rope. This is a great combination. The Prusik loop always has a sewn portion, and my recommendation, or it could be a knot, my recommendation is to basically grip it as if that sewn portion is the blade on a hatchet, so you'll never forget it. So if this was a hatchet and that was the blade, where would I grab it? I'd grab it here to operate. And what I do is I put my pinky finger through the loop. Now, this has to be accessible. So in an emergency situation, please consider that you need this accessible with that one hand. It can't be in your pack. It can't require, zippers and 2 hands to get to it. Consider putting this in if you're right-handed, in your right saddle bag, and consider clipping it in. Here is a double action, not triple action, a double action carabiner. It's an old one, but I like this for things like this because I can use a double action carabiner with high reliability and clip this onto my a MOLLE loop on my saddle, drape this into my saddlebag. I will never lose it. But if I need to get that out, I can open this while the loop is still in my bag, get it off, and then retrieve the loop. Okay, so here we go. We're going to grab it in this fashion. I put my pinky through the loop, and I'm holding it like a hatchet. And now I place it on the rope, behind the rope, like so. And with my thumb, I'm going to flip it over my hand. And I'm going to do it a second time. And now, this is pretty simple to do, just got to rehearse it. I'm going to take that top strand, I'm going to grip it with my thumb and forefinger, I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to pull it through my pinky loop. You see there? I'm just pulling it through. And that is perfectly set. That's a head-in, and it will take my body weight immediately. It's extremely strong. Now, it can't be reliably broken under load, but that's not what we're worried about right now. We're worried about maintaining our position. If you want to learn how to break or to get off a friction hitch that is stuck, we'll see my prior work on the safety and self-recovery playlist. Right now, we're just trying to avoid sliding out of a tree. Let's see that one more time. Here's the loop. I'm going to hold it like a hatchet. I'm going to put my finger in the loop, hold it with one hand, and if you've got this rope away from the tree, you can actually spin it around so you can get your first loop done automatically, and then flip that through. And then I'm pulling one loop through the other. See my prior videos on the head-in knot. It's very, very simple to tie. Let's do it now with gloves on. So here, I just finished shoveling the driveway. Here's an old leather glove, and it's wet. My fingers are cold. Same deal. I've got it draped through my pinky. I'm holding it like a hatchet, and with one hand, I won't flip it this time. I'll just use my thumb, give that a little flip, once around the back, twice around the back. That constitutes a 3-wrap head-in, because recall I started by placing it around the back. And now I grab, a little harder with gloves on, grab that top strand and work it through the placeholder formed by my pinky. Definitely harder with these old leather gloves. But there it is. And as you know, I'm a one-take guy. I like doing these things in real-world situations. If it ain't perfect, it ain't perfect. But you can practice that. You can practice that. And of course, you can use that same double-action carabiner, which are easier to open with one hand than triples, and put and connect in. If it's already on your bridge, make sure that you can operate your bridge carabiner with one hand. And then you might be able to recover from this situation. Your other hand, you're holding on, you push this up, and it takes load. And that gives you an opportunity to recover. I'm going to take you in real tight and have you watch that action as closely as possible one more time. Place the doubled cord behind the rope. Got my pinky in the slot, and I'm going to flip it with my thumb. I'm going to flip it over. Give it a good flip. That's once. Twice. I now have 6 strands around the back of the rope because I placed it around there and went around 2 more times. Take that top one and work it through. See what I'm doing? I'm working it through. Pull the loop through. And there you go. The orientation of the sewn portion, as I showed you, yeah, you could have it on the other side. It's just a little easier to work this way. I've done this thousands and thousands of times, and I wanted to make sure you had it in your toolbox so that if you didn't already have your redundancy, if you didn't already have your backup above your friction device, you might be able to get this on and get yourself recovered. Thanks as always, and stay safe.